Hi class, so today we're going to be looking at the next task in 7.13. We're looking at knowing how to collect basic unlike terms in algebra. So we looked at labelling them last lesson, and now we're going to look at being able to collect and simplify. So if you can pause the video and spend 7 minutes working through the starter activity. Okay, so here's our answers. Again, try and in any points or notice on which ones that you're good at collecting now. So if it's these converting fractions into decimals, did you divide the top and bottom by 2 to end up with 6/10? And that's easy enough for you to do. Or did you go to 100? Both work perfectly. Area of a parallelogram, we do the base times by the perpendicular height to get 55 millimeters squared. Okay, so let's have a look at a few examples to start with. So on the top, we have an expression here. If we have a look, we have the variable a, we have the variable c, another a, but it's being subtracted, and then another two c's, but they're being subtracted. So let's have a look at what we've got at the bottom. So remember, include the symbol before the term when doing the box or circle. So let's see what the box and circle are. So we have a 4a and a negative 4a. So if you remember from our success criteria, we can check what terms have the same letter, and these can be added or subtracted. So we put a little circle around our A's so that we know that they're together. We'll use a different shape and colour this time. I always used to have teachers that tell me to use a different highlighter for these. So if you like using your highlighters, you can do that. And then we've also got a negative 2c. So now these bullet points where it says include the symbol before the term, as you can see, we've done that. So it's a negative a, positive 3c, and so on. So then it says add or subtract the terms as if jumping forwards or backwards on a number line. So again, that's building on what we looked at last lesson. So again, we can box our 3y on the second expression, and are there any other y's? Yeah, there's going to be negative 5y at the end. And then in the middle, we can circle the plus 2x and the minus x. And then we'd be able to simplify these. So we could say, okay, on the first one, I've got 4a, then I've got subtract 1a. So those two will become 3a. And then the plus positive 3c, subtract 2c. Well, if we have 3, say, carrots, and I take away 2 carrots, I'm going to end up with 1. So it'll be 1c. So let's have a look at another example. So we'll say x is the length of a single lorry, and c is the length of a single car. So again, we've been able to showcase this expression with pictures as well. So we can see at the front we've got 2 lorries, which is represented by 2x. Then we are adding the length of 3 cars. Then we're adding a lorry, and then we're adding 4 cars. So we can see from our picture that we have 7 cars in total and 3 lorries. So now we'll have a look on this page. So S is the cost of a strawberry. What is the total value? So you can see that we have 2 strawberries here and another 2. So we've got the value of 4 strawberries, whatever that is. So we'll say it's 4 times by the price of a strawberry. We've then got 2 at the end as well, 2 strawberries, and just a 10 pence. So we can collect our strawberries. So we've got the value of 6 strawberries. So 4s plus 2s gives us 6s. And then we're adding the 10p that we have at the end. So now we'll try doing some without the pictures and see how we go. Okay, so I'll do the first one. So I'm going to try and mirror what we have seen first of all. So I'm going to say, right, I've got an F here, so I'm going to give it a double underline. This 15 here doesn't have any F with it, so I'll leave that. And then we have the 4F at the end. So now I can collect my 7F and my 4F. I'm going to get 11F. And then I've also still got my positive 15 left. So it's going to be a positive plus 15. And that would be my answer. So pause the video now and give yourselves 30 seconds to try and simplify the first we do. Okay, so this time I'll try and copy the method that we had at the start. So we've got 7f, doesn't have a symbol before it. It is a plus, we just don't have to put it there. It's assumed. The next term is a negative 15e. So that isn't an f, so that will go in our circle. And then finally we have another f, so it's negative 4f. So let's deal with the rectangles first. We've got positive 7, subtract 4, so that's going to give us positive 3f. And then the negative 15e has nothing to be added or subtracted from. So that stays as it is. Give yourselves the mark if you got that right. And for this next I do, so I'm going to start with my f, 7f. The 15e will go on its own. That'll be paired with something else. So we'll go negative 4f, put that in a little rectangle as well. And then as you can see, these two terms here, negative 15e and the positive 14e, they have the same letter. So I can look at adding these together now and simplifying it. So we have 7f, subtract 4f, that gives us 3f. And negative 15e plus 14e. So if I imagine my number line, it's not going to get me all the way to 0. Our starting point is negative 15 and we're moving up 14 places. So we're going to end up with negative 1e, or just negative e. So pause the video now and give yourselves another 30 seconds trying to do the second we do. Okay, so again, start by putting a rectangle around the 7f. The negative 15 doesn't have an f. The next term, negative 6f, does have an f. And the next term, plus 14, doesn't have an f. And then finally we have the negative f at the end. Remember that I'm making sure that I'm encasing and enclosing the symbol before it as well. So then we've got negative 15 and positive 14. And if we imagine that there wasn't any variables or any letters in this, you know that you can do negative 15 add 14. There's nothing stopping you from collecting them two. So let's look at our rectangles. We've got 7f minus 6f, which would leave us with 1f. We've got 1f take away f, so we're going to end up with 0f. And then we also have negative 15 plus 14. So that's going to be negative 1. So altogether, 0 times f will cancel it out. So our answer is just negative 1. Give yourselves the mark if you got that right. So now we're going to look at some that are a little bit trickier. I don't think these will showcase too big when it comes to the practice examples. There'll be a few to test you, but not many. So again, we're going to start off with 7f. Next of all, we have 15ef. Now that's going to be some random number e multiplied by some random number f. So we can't add that to something that just has an f. So now we've got minus 6f, so that can be added. We've then got, again, positive 14ef, so that doesn't have just an f. So we can't add that to it either. And then we have negative f at the end. So then our positive 15ef and our positive 14ef have the same letters, so they can be added together. So we have 7f minus 6f minus f. So that's going to leave us with 0f. Then we also have 15ef plus 14ef. So that's going to leave us with 29ef. And our 0 times by f will just leave us with nothing. So our answer is just 29ef. So pause the video now and give yourselves 30 seconds to try and solve the we do. And while you're doing that, make sure to note our first success criteria. So all the terms must have the same letter or letters as we've been seeing, and the letter has to be to the same power. So this 7f to the 5 could only be added to other f to the 5s. I'll leave you to complete that now. Okay, so I'll just complete it now. So we've got the negative f to the 5 here. We have positive 15EF and positive 14EF. So 7f to the power of 5, take away 4f's to the power of 5. That's going to leave us with 3f to the power of 5. But then we're taking away another one at the end here. So we're going to end up with 2f to the power of 5. And then from the positive 15e to the f, added to 14e to the f, we know from the last I do that that's going to be 29e to the f. Give yourselves the mark if you got that one right. And really well done for not being tripped up by the powers, by these things here. So next we're moving on to the next I do. So again, I'll start off with this one. So I'm going to start off by squaring my first term. Then it's an f to the 5. So have we got any more f's to the 5? We do. We have one here. It's a negative 4 of them. And then we also have another negative one at the end. So then my next terms are 15e to the power of 5 and positive 14e to the power of 5. So 7f to the 5, subtract 4f to the 5, it's going to leave us with 3f to the 5. Subtract f to the 5, so that's going to leave us with 2f to the 5. And that is the exact, for the f to the 5s, you already did that for me on the last video, didn't you? That's what I was just checking. And then next of all, we're going to have 15e to the 5 plus 14e to the 5. So again, the coefficient, the 29, is going to stay the same. And then we're going to have e to the power of 5. So now both of our variables this time have got a power. So now give yourselves 30 seconds trying to do this fourth we do. We've only got one more set after this, and then you'll be free to do some yourself. Okay, so we got powers flying all over the place now. So I'm going to square the first one, 7f to the power of 5. Next, I've got 15f to the power of 5. So the letter, oops, nearly missed my symbol there. So our letter and the power is the same. We've then got loads of them. Then we've got negative 4f to the power of 5. Then we've got the e to the 5 doesn't work because the letter's different. Then we've got negative f to the 5. And then finally, our e to the 5s are here. So already I can see I've got positive 14e to the 5 and negative 14e to the 5. So them two are going to cancel each other out. See, that's why it's so important that we remember the symbol beforehand. Because if you only took the 14e to the 5 and then dropped the negative symbol here, you'd end up with double, as opposed to a cancellation. So let's try it. So we got 7f to the 5 plus 15f to the power of 5, which gives us 22. We've got 22f to the 5, take away 4, which gives us 18f to the 5. And then we've got one more to take away here. So we got 17f to the 5. Then we have, like we said before, the cancellation. So this here would cancel with this. So that's just our answer. 17f to the 5. Getting a bit small now, aren't they? So again, we've got 7f to the 5 plus 15f to the 5. Subtract 4f to the 5. Subtract f to the 5. And then again we've got this here, plus 14e to the 5, and then times by f, and then negative 14e to the 5 multiplied by f. So again we can see that the coefficients, can I get a little laser here so I can show you? So as you can see here, our coefficient, the number before it, the negative 14, and then we've got positive 14 here. The e to the 5, f, and f. So these two terms are going to cancel each other again. So we'll come to that in a second. But first of all, we've got 7f to the 5 plus the 15. So these two here are going to become 22f to the 5. Then we're going to subtract 4. And we're going to subtract another 1. So just with our f's to the 5, we have 22 f to the 5 minus 4, so we get 18. We're going to subtract another 1, so we're going to get 17 f to the 5. Now we've dealt with this, we've used this, we've dealt with this, and we dealt with this. So there's only our other two squiggly line terms. And we've said that them two are going to cancel each other out. So it would be plus 0, e to the 5, f. And because these are here are all times by 0, that would all cancel. So can you pause the video now and give the, I think it's the 5th, give the 5th and final redo a go. Okay, so we've got e f to the power of 5. Our next term is plus 15 e f to the power of 5, so powers and letters are the same. We've got negative 4 e f to the power of 5. Oh, now we've got plus 14 e to the 5f, so the power is swapped from the f to the e. Then we've got minus 18 e f to the power of 5 and negative 14 e5 to the power of f. So again, these two squiggly line terms, if you compare them, the only difference is one is positive and one's negative. So they're going to cancel each other out once again. So first of all, we've got these two added together again is going to give us 22 ef to the power of 5. We're then going to take away 4 of them, which is going to give us 18. Oh, and then we're going to take away 18 ef to the power of 5. So all these are going to cancel each other out. We're going to get 0 ef to the power of 5. And then once we deal with these two as well, the two squiggly line terms that we've got here, then we're going to get plus 0 e to the 5 f. So because when we put these terms next to each other, it just means that we're timesing them. So it's 0 times e times by f to the power of 5. So it's all just going to be equal to 0. They're all just going to cancel. So give yourselves the mark if you got that one right. Really well done if you did. We've moved really quickly introducing the powers when it comes to collecting these terms. So really well done. Really well done at the pattern spotting. So now, just to get yourself familiar with these types of questions and just to bolden yourself, we got some GCSE questions here. And if you'd like to pause the video and spend 2 minutes just working through these, and then we'll see if you got the answers right. Then we'll start our practice examples. Okay, so like we said before, when we have 3 e f, that basically is notation for 3 times e times f. So in our first example here, we have 3 times b times 9. So we can collect and simplify the times 3 and the times 9. And 3 times 9 gives us 27. And then we also have the b, so we have 27b. Next of all, simplify the following. So I'm going to say, right, my 2x and my minus 6x are going to come together, and then my minus 3y and minus 4y will come together. So 2x take 6x is going to be negative 4x, and negative 3y, and I can't tell anymore if that's negative or positive. Give me 1 second, guys. Oh, okay, they're all negatives. I'm going to have to do some underlining here so I don't lose some of my symbols. So yeah, so we had negative 4x collecting our double strikes, and then the squiggly lines we have negative 3y and negative 4y, which is going to be negative 7y. So see, there's some serious marks that can be gained with these, and once you understand and get past the letters aspects of it, they are really accessible. So we'll move on to the practice examples now. So give yourselves 7 minutes to try and work through these here. It should be nearly 2 minutes for each line. All you have to do is simplify these. So find out what letters are the same, make sure they're to the same power as well, and then start collecting them. Use a setup like we did with either squiggly lines or underlines or squares or circles to pair up which ones should be added together. And here are the answers. Give yourselves a mark out of 16 here. And here's some more now. So now, as you can see down at the bottom, we've had some of the powers started to creep in now. In fact, they're coming all the way from here. So again, make sure that any letters are the same, and make sure that the powers are the same before you start to simplify them. If they can't be simplified, then your answer is already simplified. So it would just stay as it is. I can see a few of those in there. So pause the video now and give yourselves another 6 minutes working through this. And here are your answers. So funnily enough, the one I underlined actually stayed as it was. Because the a to the power 7, there's no other a's to the power 7 in here. The b times c, the bc, there's no others of them. And the ab, there's no others of them. So that couldn't be simplified. And finally, I'll give you a hint as to what's going on here. So we've got 10 lots of AB, and then we want to subtract something, and we will get to 9 lots of AB. So we're going to be subtracting 1 lot of AB. So you're using your problem solving skills this time to work backwards. So give yourselves 5 minutes working through these because they are problem solvers. And here are your answers, guys. Again, give yourselves a mark out of 6 here. How did you do on these? Remember, the success criteria should always be at the bottom of the page to help you out if you are stumped or struggling. If there's not someone around to give you a hand, the success criteria will. So, great work today, guys. Make sure you send your work over to your teacher. If you're really proud of the work that you've done today, make sure you send it through and it will make its way through to the head of maths. You should be really proud of your work. So now, think about, what did you understand? What did you struggle with? Did you struggle when the powers came into it or not? Is that no problem at all? And then how can you improve on the things that you struggled with in future? Again, great work on this. And I'll see you next time.